Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another video of ours. This is the FAI Cup review essentially, but also the one Premier Division game which was played on Friday evening is also going to be reviewed, and that's where we're going to start. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and if you'd like to join our Patreon, check the link in the description and in the comments. So first up, we had that banger, didn't we, at Daleyman Park. We finished Bohemians 3, Derry City 4, and you might have thought this might have been a little bit cagey considering the position of both teams in the table, but Derry City's win now puts them 2 points above Bohemians and 7 points behind Shamrock Rovers, but the Hoops have 2 games in hand, but certainly puts Derry in the driving seat to qualify for that top 3, I believe, in Europe. And Bohs will be disappointed with it. They were missing Dawson Devine in this game, who picked up a suspension, of course, against Sligo Rovers in the last match, and to say this game was frantic would be an understatement, to be fair. I'll just go through the goal scores and the goals first. Dougie James Taylor gives Bohemians the lead on 9 minutes from the penalty spot. I felt that the penalty was a penalty. I think he just hooks him, and I believe it was a penalty in my personal opinion, and Bohs take the lead. Some people thought it was soft. I thought it was a penalty personally. Duffy then with a trademark strike with his right foot from the left-hand side. A brilliant low-driven shot into the corner to beat Chereska to make it 1-1. And it looked like it's going to be 1-1 at half-time, but Adam O'Reilly scores right on half-time to give Derry City a lead right on half-time. Into the second half, and Jordan Flores equalises on 65 minutes. But 2 minutes later, that man Adam O'Reilly pops up to push Derry City ahead again. James Taylor again scores at 71 minutes to make it 3-3. And Akinyemi completes the score in a 74 to make it 4-3 for the Candy Stripes. And an absolutely mad game that could have went either way, to be honest with you. Let's be honest, if it was a draw, I don't think too many would have argued with it. But Derry City, a massive 3 points for Derry City. They got Ronan Boyce sent off from a second yellow as well. And after that, first of all, I don't think it was a second yellow, to be honest. Not even sure it was a foul. I don't think it was, personally. But even if, just say he had made a foul there, I don't think it warrants a second yellow, to be fair. So he was unlucky. And Derry were clinging on, weren't they? Bohemians through the kitchen sink at the last 15 minutes, and a couple of good saves from Mar, including a brilliant save right at the death from James Clark. And you just felt like Bohs were going to actually score. But really a mad game. But as I said, a massive 3 points for Derry, because in their last 3 league games now, they've won in Galway, scoring while they were down to 10 men. They drew 2-2 at home to St. Patrick's Athletic after being 2-0 down with roughly 16-17 minutes to go. So in that regard, that's a point. And to win this humdinger, which kind of could have went either way type game. It's a massive last few weeks for Derry City to pick up 7 points out of 9, and the way they've done it. So that'll give them confidence, apart from the actual points alone that are on the board. For Bohs, 1 win and 6 in the league, and I see a few Bohs fans are getting a little bit nervous. They're 5 points out of Shelbourne, to be fair. Shelbourne have 2 games in hand. One of them is against Shamrock Rovers. And they are 5 points out of Pats, who also have a game in hand. I think the Pats game is on Monday, actually, at home to Cork City as well. So it could get interesting. It could get tight there as well. But Bohs will be very disappointed with that. It's interesting because Alan Reynolds and Stevie O'Donnell signed a new contract as well, extension at the club. Interesting timing, I would suggest. I would have personally waited to the end of the season, but they've done it now. Let me know what you think in the comments if you're a Bohs fan. If you're a Derry City fan, how are you feeling now about qualifying for Europe? Surely you're confident. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, the FAI Cup quarter-final took centre stage, really, didn't it, this week? And I'll start off in Ballybuffet, where a lot of people felt there might have been a cup upset here. And I'd mentioned that too many people were saying Finn Harps are going to win, which led me to believe that Cork City were going to win. And boy, did they win. They won fairly emphatically, to be fair. Now, Harps had the times in the game where they played well and they gave it a go. But really, well, I was going to say the game was over after 11 minutes. But look what happened in Mount Hawk Park. We'll get onto that later on. But realistically, you feel McLaughlin's goal after 2 minutes and Shawnee Maguire with a brilliant finish, actually, in 11 minutes. puts Harps in the back foot and puts Cork in control. And later on, Evan McLaughlin scored again to make it 3-0. And do you know what? Evan McLaughlin has been very good for Cork City this season. Really, really good for Cork City this season. One of their shining lights, if not the shining light in their season. If you're a Cork City fan, let me know what you think in the comments. Has Evan McLaughlin been your best player this season? I haven't seen literally every single Cork City game. That's why I'm asking fans that watch them more regularly. But from the games I've watched, etc., I think he has been, to be honest with you. Very busy player, creative, and has chipped in with goals, hasn't he? So, brilliant win for Cork City, and their form in the last month has been decent, to say the least. And obviously they go into an FAI Cup semi-final as well. I'll talk about them quickly, actually, after I talk about these games, just a draw. So we'll get into that very quickly as well. But as for Finn Harps, it was a free hit for them. They were hoping they were going to be the shock, the surprise team, if you like, but it turned out it was somebody else, didn't it, in Kerry FC. But look, Finn Harps have to focus now on getting into the playoffs. Getting into the playoffs through the first division, obviously, and see if they can get back into the Premier Division. But of course they'll be disappointed. It's a home tie. They felt they might have been able to put Cork under a bit of pressure, but Cork went there and done generally a professional job. And Jaron Nash should be delighted with that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now at Sullivan Lamb Park, the cup holders are out. Drogheda United won, Shamrock Rovers won. Shamrock Rovers winning 5-4 on penalties. Graham Burke in 23 always scores against Drogheda United. And Andrew Quinn, right at the death, brought the game into extra time, and obviously Drogheda United ended up losing on penalties. And look, penalties is always a tough way to go out. It's difficult though. They knocked out Derry City in penalties. I always think, it's very difficult to win a number of shootouts in one cup competition. Generally, you get caught eventually. But they were tough ties. They went to the Brandywell, won in penalties. They got Shamrock Rovers to penalties. And to be honest with you, they did a great job in getting Rovers to penalties, because I thought in the first half, Rovers were pretty much outstanding. I thought they passed the ball brilliantly. They were in full control of the football match, and scored a very good goal involving Mandreu and Burke. Drogheda United would argue Mandreu could have been sent off. He could have been, to be fair. I think it's a tackle from behind. I think he hooks. I can't remember who the player was, actually. Was it Markey or Josh Thomas? Maybe it was neither of them. I can't remember the Drogheda player, actually. But that's irrelevant, really. I think he hooks him with one leg, and I think he gets away with it because of that. If he catches him with the two legs, I think he's off. So it was borderline. It could have been given, I think. But Shamrock Rovers, as I said, were brilliant in the first half, but didn't get the second goal. And I felt at half time watching it, I felt, Drogheda are still in this game, and in more ways than one. It's obviously only 1-0, and you always feel they're capable of battling back into the game. They did. They battled back into the game. They put pressure on Shamrock Rovers in that second half. A lot of pressure on Shamrock Rovers. Shamrock Rovers, the half wore on, started to get less and less possession. Drogheda were really putting them under pressure, and eventually that pressure told through Quinn's very good goal, the 90th minute. And then it's anyone's game, isn't it? You have the extra time, goes to penalties, and often people say penalties are a lottery. I don't think it's a lottery. I think that's a little bit too cliched and simplistic for me. I think penalties, yes, there's an element of luck there. There is an element of luck, but it's not all luck. If you win the lottery, it's all luck, isn't it? But it comes down to composure, I think, is a huge thing, isn't it? And penalties, and goalkeepers trying to psych the opposition out, and both goalkeepers were doing it, and that sort of thing, trying to get into players' heads. And the crucial penalty, I thought, was Dan Cleary's miss. When I was watching it as well, it was a bit strange because I don't know how I knew exactly, but before he even ran up, I called that he was going to blaze it over the bar. I'm not really sure why, to be honest with you. He just looked very comfortable. He hands on his hips at the penalty spot. It's all very tight and static for my liking, and maybe nerves got to Cleary, and he ended up obviously blazing it over the bar and onto the road, essentially. So hopefully no one's window got smashed. But ultimately Markey missed a big penalty for Drogheda, and I think that would have won it for them, wouldn't it? So they were very close. It was only 5-4 on penalties as well. So, it was it's always disappointing to lose on penalties. A big, big win for Shamrock Rovers because I think for me they're big, big favourites for the cup now, to be honest with you. Um, I'll talk about that a little bit later on with the draws, but a massive, massive win for them. Drogheda to be disappointed, but it's very difficult to retain a cup, and they gave it a good go, didn't they? I mean, ultimately they were knocked out in penalties; they didn't actually lose, so it's difficult. It is difficult, and Shamrock Rovers march on. And finally, or not finally, I should say, finally on Friday night, Kerry FC. This was the shock, and it was a shock in more ways than one, wasn't it? Kerry FC 4, Sligo Rovers 3. And you felt to yourself that if there was going to be an upset, that, Sligo would probably have a lot of the possession and Kerry might nick it or something like that. But first of all, for Kerry to score 4 goals, second of all, to come from 3-0 down against a Premier Division team is just incredible. Owen Eldin scores a hat-trick by the 61st minute. The second one was a brilliant goal, wasn't it? Absolutely brilliant, controlled volley into the corner. And Sligo Rovers were cruising, absolutely cruising in this game. And from their point of view, it's always difficult talking about these as a neutral because no matter what you say, Kerry FC deserved the height of praise. But at the same time, it's shambolic from Sligo Rovers' point of view. It really is. As a Premier Division team, and again, if you're a Kerry FC fan, I keep trying to go and say Kerry City. I've got Cork City in my head because they're playing Cork in semi-final. If you're a Kerry FC fan, let me know what you think in the comments. Same for Sligo Rovers. But this is in Sligo Rovers' locker, though, I have to say. It is in their locker. If any team was going to do this, it was Sligo Rovers from the Premier Division early because the last couple of seasons in the Cup, right? They lost to Wexford FC. They were beaten by UCD, who were at the foot of the table in the Premier Division. And they've been beaten by Kerry FC. And this was an opportunity potentially for them to get to a final. Yeah, the way the draw worked, they probably would have been going to Tallaght to play Shamrock Rovers. So I get that, it's difficult. But they went and they beat Bohemians at Daleyman Park, which was a game that they deserved to win. So to go and beat Bohemians at Daleyman Park in a game they deserved to win, essentially, and then throw away a 3-0 lead against First Division side, a new First Division side, it is the word I would use from a Sligo Rovers. We'll get to Kerry in a minute. From a Sligo Rovers point of view, it's shambolic. It's shambolic. And the penalty they gave away, which was crucial, which was to make it 2-1 on 77. I think it was Quirk. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. Ridiculous penalty to give away. Absolutely no need to go in and challenge there. And it's almost like they lost the plot before they even lost the plot. That kind of way. But yeah, from Sligo Rovers' point of view, it's a remarkable collapse. If they'd been 3-0 up against Shamrock Rovers in the same game and unfolded the same way, you would have been saying that was an almighty collapse. But to do it against a First Division side and not being able to do it in extra time as well was a killer for them. But on to Kerry FC, what a historic win by Kerry FC. What a fantastic win from their point of view. 3-0 down 61. Brosnan in 65 probably thinks he scored a consolation. The penalty in 77 then from Adams. Suddenly now you're going, hang on a minute, it's a chance here. And Brosnan scores in the 90th minute. Extra time. Oguite scores on 117 to make it 4-3 with 3 minutes to go. You would have forgiven them to be hanging on for penalties a little bit and say, look, we'll get the penalties. But I do wonder if that Bohs game was in their head last year, Kerry. It was 2-2 and it obviously went to penalties and Bohs won. Maybe they were just thinking, do you know what, lads, we're really going to go for this. We don't want to take a chance and wait for penalties and be another hard luck story. Might have been in their head. But what a fantastic win for Kerry FC. I mean, third year in League of Ireland football, improving steadily every single year. And you see new clubs, they're a great example. New clubs come into this often. And we've seen in the past spend big money, and try and go for it all too early. And they might get it, but then they're folded within a couple of seasons. Kerry are doing things right. And to be in an FAI Cup semi-final now, going to the the likely champions at Shamrock Rovers in terms of the league, the Tallaght Stadium semi-final is a remarkable place for Kerry to be in. And not just to win it, but to win it after being 3-0 down against Sligo Rovers is just an incredible feat from a Kerry FC point of view. And, that, no matter what happens in their next 10 years, like, they'll always look back to this as a big moment for them, I think, as well. A massive moment for them. Huge, I think. Remarkable. I'm lost for words even now, a couple of days later, to be honest with you. A remarkable feat by Kerry FC, and you have to give them serious credit. They are a great example. If you have a new club and you want to come into the league, etc., you need to seriously look at Kerry and the example they've set. Brilliant stuff. As for Sligo Rovers, yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, Richmond Park, it finished on Sunday. St. Patrick's Day 3, Galway United 1 after extra time. And this game was, for 45 minutes at least, I would say, pretty poor. Pretty poor, lacked intensity, lacked aggression, and lacked a lot of things. Both teams were working hard. Galway were working very hard off the ball, extremely hard off the ball, to stop Pats from playing. And it was working. Pats, on the other hand, were moving the ball far too slowly in the first half. But there were a couple of chances in that first half. Kavanagh goes close with a deflected effort for St. Pat's. And Jimmy Cohan should score, actually, for Galway United. Brilliant counter-attack, brilliant sweeping move. Cohan forces a save from a 9. But he doesn't really get purchase on the shot. He probably needs to bend it into the far corner. And that would have put them 1-0 up. That was the key thing for Galway in this game, ultimately, I think. They probably need to get ahead, and they didn't. Second half was a bit better. Pats came out a bit quicker. It was a bit more open the first 15 minutes of the second half. And, Galway were trying very, very hard as well. And it took 83 minutes for a goal, though. Mulroney does well in the right, with his right foot, essentially, and finds the far corner to give Pats the lead. And I thought that might win the game. But Dave Hurley had other ideas. He struck, and it deflected into the net, and Galway brought the game to extra time. To be fair, I would say after 90 minutes, the draw was pretty much a fair result after 90 minutes. I think Galway United were probably slightly better overall in the second half, slightly better. They worked much harder and probably played with more intensity than I have seen them in a while. But I still felt, apart from Keohane's chance generally, that they were a bit limited in what they were trying to do generally, to be honest with you as well, in terms of, it didn't feel like they were going to create an awful lot of chances. You felt like if anything was going to happen chance-wise, probably coming from St. Pat's. We obviously go into extra time, and Nine makes 2 brilliant saves though in extra time. Absolutely top-notch saves to keep Pats in it, because again, big moments. If Galway go 2-1 up, different game. 2 massive saves from Nine in the space of about 2 minutes. And then there's the red card from Bruder. Definite red card, it's no doubt about it. Melia's in, he takes him down, he's the last man. It's that simple, red card. But they got punished severely. Severely they got punished, didn't they? Forrester's free kick from that finds the back of net. I don't know if Clark doesn't see it or not, because he hits it well, Forrester, but it's not quite in the corner. I'm not sure if Clark gets caught or stuck, or a bit stuck in the mud type situation for the goalkeeper there, wasn't it? Maybe, I don't know if he thought Forrest was going to do something else or something. I'm not really sure. Maybe the goalkeeper experts can tell me down in the comments. But and he felt that was it, because red card and a goal basically in the same move, if you like, was massive. And Pat's created another few chances after that. Garrick comes on as a sub and finishes the game at 3-1. Conor Carty nearly makes a 4 at the end with a left foot strike that just hits the post. And yeah, look, Pats are in the semi-final, put it that way. They're into the semi-final. They've won the cup twice in the last 4 years, and they'd be delighted to be in the semi-final. It wasn't a brilliant performance overall by them. It wasn't a bad performance overall by them. But I thought Galway, it's the best I've seen Galway perform in about 3 months in terms of their intensity and aggression in their play. But they still, for me, generally now, they did have a couple of chances, of course, look a little bit, I suppose, limited, to be honest with you. And look, they'll have to bring that next week at Richmond Park. They've got, it's a big game in the league for them, so they'll have to bring that performance in. And look, ultimately that performance in the 90 minutes got Galway a 1-1 draw. So if that's a league match, it's a 1-1 draw. Do you know what I mean? So, and a point wouldn't be bad for them next week. They'll obviously try and win the game, but it wouldn't be bad either. And, Pats, yeah, as I said, Stephen Kenny would be absolutely delighted with that. And yeah, great win for Pats. Let me know what you think in the comments. Pats will obviously go into the semi-finals now, where they play Cork City at Turner's Cross, which is going to be a difficult fixture. Cork City will be delighted with that because it's under the lights as well on the Friday night. I just think that adds to it from a Cork point of view. Interestingly, with Pat's last couple of wins in the Cup, they've knocked Cork City out at Turner's Cross twice. And they got to Turner's Cross again. Last time out, 2 years ago when Pats won the Cup, they beat Cork City at Turner's Cross through goals from Mark Doyle and Conor Carty. And 2 years previous, Pats won on penalties Turner's Cross. So interestingly, they go to Turner's Cross again. Cork City be hoping it's third time lucky. And, that's not an easy game at all for Pats. It's going to be a difficult one. And Cork will quietly fancy their chances, actually. The other one is obviously Shamrock Rovers in the semi-final drawn to Kerry FC, which will be on the Sunday of that's going to be the 5th of October. Cork City and Pat's going to be the 3rd of October. And look, Shamrock Rovers is going to be massive favourites for that, at Tallaght Stadium especially. But it'll be interesting to see how their fixtures run in around that time. But yeah, interesting draw. Who's your favourites? Who do you think is favourites for the Cup? Who do you fancy for the final? Let me know what you think in the comments. That's it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.